You have fire in your gut? Okay, we're here for a reason to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast.
Welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of the 7 Points Podcast. My name has been Jayton May, joined as always by my co-host Quentin Crisco. How we doing that?
Doing great, Jay. I can't seem to win bets lately, but you know what? I'm here for the fun. Football's fun. And I need to keep reminding myself that. And last week, I went with the method because I was like, the model's up. What? It was like 14 units on the year. I was like, I've been on a cold streak. I'm just going to follow the model this week. Model went and had itself the worst week of the year, down 2 units. So I was down another 2 units. Model's still up 12 units on the year. So I'm just going to continue following it. I got to trust the process here.
Trust the process. Philly special. Yeah. Can't hate on that. So Bears didn't look so hot last week.
No, did they play?
I can't remember.
I don't know if they actually showed up and did anything, but
to be fair, they didn't find a new way to lose. I think the Cowboys took over that moniker for the week.
Put them all in Alcatraz. That's all I know.
Yep. Cowboys somehow lose the game by blocking a punt.
It was impressive. Truly. I had said, I messaged someone when that happened. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that happen. And they were like, Leon Lett. I was like, yeah, but I wasn't alive. So
the Leon Lett
like
thing
that
was the same thing, was it?
That was a block field goal.
Yeah, block field goal in the snow. It was slippery. And yeah, there was other factors. It wasn't just a nice
idiocy
night. Yeah. Oh man. Brutal, but I don't mind the losses. I just wish we wouldn't have had so many wins. So yeah, it's tough.
Spirit.
It's tough. Yeah, I mean, when you have a quarterback that you know is going to be your quarterback next year, and a pretty good team with a shit ton of injuries and 9 weeks left in the season, you're kind of just like, well, if we lose out, we just add talent to an already good team, and now we're going to get like the 13th, 14th pick, which is it's still nice. I mean, I guess, but a top 5 to top 8 pick would have been nice too.
Yeah, they're still. What's their record? They have 5 wins, 4,
6.
Oh, the Cowboys have 6.
They won 2 in a row, and I think they were at 4. It might be only 5. I can't remember. 5 and 8. Them and Cincy
are both still got a chance to get in the top 10. I don't think it's that likely, but it's possible.
Yeah, them and Cincy are both there. Yeah, I mean, looking at so Raiders, Titans, Jaguars, Giants are pretty locked into that top 4.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of opening up from there. I mean, I think I could see some of those others. I think Panthers get a couple wins down the stretch. Patriots too. Patriots playing good ball. So yeah, you never know. Jets could rally off some wins.
Possible.
But so weird schedule this week. We have a Thursday night game. We have a couple of Saturday games. But we don't have Saturday games the week of Christmas, which is frustrating.
Huh, I didn't realize that. I didn't even realize it was Saturday games this week, honestly.
Oh, wait. No, must be next week we have Saturday games. Hold on. Yeah. Next week we have 2 Saturday games. This week, no.
Okay.
No.
That's what I thought.
Just Thursday. Okay. I was a week ahead. Because it's the same weekend as college football playoff that they're doing Saturday night games. And I'm like,
makes a lot of sense.
In my head, I was like, why are they not doing Saturday night games this week?
Right, yeah. As you were saying it, I was like, I guess it makes sense because there's no college football this week, but
yeah, so they decided to do Saturday games the opening weekend of the 12-game college football playoff.
NFL don't want that. They don't like the competition. They're trying to ice them out. Roger's a shark, believe it or not.
Yeah, college football playoffs awesome. We have Indiana versus Indiana in the first round. That'll be nice.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. That's going to be fun. The state of Indiana might burn to the ground, but it's going to be a good time.
what I saw it was you have Indiana basketball going against Notre Dame football, basically, and all those people are the same people.
Yeah.
Everybody that cheers for Notre Dame football cheers for Indiana basketball.
A lot of them. I mean, you get a lot of Chicago who roots for Notre Dame too, which will make it
Yeah,
more
just the
interesting. But like,
Midwest.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of Indiana folks are Indiana basketball fans and Notre Dame football fans. Like
Yeah,
that just seems to fit the logic there.
yeah. So that'll be fun and exciting, and then Ohio State Tennessee will be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. But looking at this week, playoffs kind of already set in stone. I mean, we got a couple teams in the race, mainly for divisions. And then, so yeah, it's going to be kind of a weird last, week 15. So we
I mean,
got 4
teams are
more
still
weeks.
fighting for seeding though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like,
But with the 1 seed getting a bye, that kind of changes things. Like the 2 seed's not nearly as valuable as it used to be.
the home field, I feel like still matters a lot though.
Yeah.
Like,
But you still got to win your games. And
yeah,
if you're the 2 seed, you still get home field back-to-back games if you win. And if the 1 seed's there, you have to go there regardless.
now this is interesting. Detroit has the 1 seed, and Minnesota at 11-2 has the 5 seed. Could Minnesota have like 13 wins and be in the 5 seed? Are we about to see that?
Would that happen to Philly last year? They had 12.
Did they have 12 last year? I guess they did.
It was pretty close. Cowboys, I think, went 13-4, and Philly was a game back. Philly, they had to win 1 out of their last 4, I think, and they were like 11-1 or something like that.
Yeah, Eagles were 11-6 last year with the 5 seed.
With the 5 seed, yeah. And the year before that, we had a 12 win team in the 5 seed, I think. I can't remember, but there's been some big winners in that 5 seed.
Yeah,
And I think historically they've been losing in that spot too.
yeah. I mean, all the way back to the Beastquake, right?
Oh yeah, that Seattle team had a losing record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They were what was it, 7-9?
Yeah, 7-9, hosting a playoff game.
Good times.
Love it. Yeah, was it? The Falcons that won that division that year?
It had to be, right?
Yeah, probably. Carolina had.
Wait, no. Wait, are you talking about over the Saints? Yeah.
Yeah,
It had to
the
be.
Beastquake game. Yeah,
I mean,
because
it could have
Saints
been
were
the
in Seattle.
Panthers. That was around Cam Newton era. Could have been the Panthers. No, it was like 2010. That was like 2010, I think.
I think it was my freshman year of college, which would have been 11.
Okay,
season.
then maybe 11.
Yeah, and I think that was Cam's rookie year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
So, but yeah, those teams get hot.
Watch out.
Fighting for the playoffs. I mean, NFC South could do it again this year. Host a Minnesota Vikings team. And, I mean, would you be surprised if a team like Atlanta or Tampa knocked them out in the first round?
Tampa, not at all. That feels like it has Tampa written all over it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and I mean, they just ran through Atlanta. I don't see that happening twice. I mean, it could, but Atlanta's in some trouble right now. I mean,
yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there for the Falcons right now.
Yeah, so we can get started on this week's game. We start out with Thursday Night Football. We have Rams going on the road to play the 49ers. Big, long trip for them. 49ers are 2.5-point favorites. 49.5-point total here. Model seems to slightly favor the San Francisco 49ers and kind of likes the under at a 73% probability. Is that a play at 73%, or is that
no? I do plays at 80.
80, okay.
And it's not really, like, probability is a bad term. I don't have a good way to frame this mathematically. It's just I rank them 0 to 100 and I bet over 80.
Makes sense. So Rams, I mean, we were kind of talking about it on Sunday, you and I, and you were saying What did you say? Are the Bears this bad? Or, and I was like, well, it's also Kyle Shanahan back up against the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, I thought he pantsed the Bears last week. So, like, he's in his bag right now. And I mean, hell, maybe the Bears coaching plan wasn't that good. Like, that's
Yeah.
the tough part here. Personally, like, I wanted to tease Rams here on a 6-point teaser, but I'm not going to because it's supposed to be rough weather in San Francisco.
Really?
And I think that is going to
Just
be
windy?
I think rain.
Oh.
I didn't. I heard it on a podcast that there might be rough weather out there, and 49ers are probably feeling good coming off that game. The Rams just battled 80. What was it? 86 points scored in that game total. Like
Yeah.
they're probably a little tired. So like I'm staying away from that between the
Short
weather and the tired
short
aspect
week.
of it.
So
Yeah.
right now, San Francisco 6-7. This the 7th seed right now is sitting as the Washington Commanders at 8-5. So one loss or one win, and I think I saw that Washington has that tiebreaker, but maybe not. Maybe Washington has to win 2 games to go ahead and seal it up. But San Fran has to win out. I mean, really, there's no other way about it. Green Bay's already at 9 wins. Everybody else, well, I mean, Seattle at first in that division is 8-5, so maybe they could catch it that way. But either way, they need to win out. They can't afford to lose this game.
Rams are only 1 game back of the Commanders. I'm not sure about the tiebreaker, but
Yeah, 1 game back, 4 games left. So, or is it 4 games? 13.
yeah,
4 games
4
left.
games.
4 games left. So it's a big week. I mean, when you're a game back with 4 left, you got to win. And Guerrero might be out. Another running back lost.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he didn't play in the second. It might have been precautionary, but he didn't play in the back half of that Bears game. And I
He
didn't
missed
see
practice today.
I
Trending
haven't
down.
seen an update yet. But being a short week, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those where it's a must-win game, but also, how do you manage your roster this late in the season when you're already so thin at the position? I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think the Rams could win this game, but I mean, Sean McVay historically loses to Kyle Shanahan, and like we said, backs up against the wall. I kind of like the 49ers here, but I'm taking Rams. I'm taking Rams +3. I think
right.
their offense. I think their offense is in their bag right now with Puka Nacua. They're absolutely torching people. Cooper Kupp's playing amazing. Demarcus Robinson going to have another resurgence like he did at the end of last year. Come on strong. And Kyron Williams looks fantastic right now. And first time the Rams have really looked healthy and solid all season, really. So I think they get it done. I think they keep it rolling. And I want to see the 49ers get knocked out. And it could be the blow that does it. I mean, they'll be, 2 games back of the Rams with 3 left for the division. If Seattle wins, they'll be 3 games back of Seattle. If Washington wins, they'll be 2 games back of Washington. So
yeah,
let's just put them out of their misery. Just put the old dog down. Trade Kyle Shanahan to some team that maybe has a second-year quarterback that really needs rejuvenation of the offense, and I don't know, somewhere up around like that Indiana range.
a Midwest team.
Yeah, Midwest
Big
team.
city in the Midwest, though. There aren't many of them.
Maybe not Indianapolis. I mean, I feel like they have their guy there, so I don't know where else he would go up there, but that's someone second-year quarterback, a lot of promise, just needs the right leadership.
I think his dad is from the Midwest.
Yeah.
Come to think of it. Went to Eastern Illinois. I know that. What's in Eastern Illinois?
Trees.
It's like Michigan.
No.
It's not Michigan.
Ohio.
That's it. He's going to the Buckeyes.
Yeah, he's going to the shit. He might at this point. He's going to the Buckeyes, and Belichick's going to the North Carolina to coach the Tar Heels.
What a world!
What a world we live in. 2025 is going to be awesome.
Good stuff.
But yeah, I'm taking Rams here. I like them. I got them at +3 at 2.5. I don't really like it, so I would not take it at 2.5. But I'm taking it at 3.
Yeah, I'm avoiding, and the model says to avoid. Like I said at the start of the show, I'm going straight model picks. So, on to the next one.
On to the next one, we have Cowboys at Panthers. Panthers 2.5-point favorites at home, 42.5-point total here. I took the Panthers in the preseason. I thought this would be a game that Cowboys lose. Panthers look fantastic right now. I mean, my God. I mean, not Caleb. Bryce Young's playing phenomenal football right now. Adam Thielen found the fountain of youth. Chuba Hubbard's running the ball well for him. Jonathan Brooks, non-contact injury, did not look good. Thought he might have some juice coming in late in the season after coming off that ACL tear. Does not look like that's going to be the case for them, unfortunately. But I like what they have going there. I think they're riding some momentum. I mean, they haven't really put together like good football to look forward to as a Carolina fan in 3-4 years. So I mean, even though they're losing some of these close games, I think the momentum is there, and I think they will get some wins down the stretch. And Cowboys on the road going there definitely seems like a game they can win. Cowboys are very, very injured. Lost another guy on the O-line, it looks like. So, yeah, Cowboys are in shambles. Panthers are trending up. I know the model likes Dallas here, but I don't know if the model
Let me talk a little bit about this mathematically, I guess. So, looking at this one, I mean, both these teams, Dallas is covered at a 50% rate on the road, Carolina 50% at home. Carolina's actually got a much better cover rate here. But so, for how many games did Dak play this year, Jay?
5.
So,
Let me see. I can probably tell you real quick.
So you're
Go
talking
ahead.
about a little less than half the schedule, like 5 out of 13. So that is the math. Like something around 35% of the math for the Cowboys is factoring in the Dak Prescott Cowboys, which is I think why it likes it here.
6.
Okay, so 6, so almost half. And the model, I use 4 different essentially models or 5 different models here. One of them's got the Cowboys at 1.5-point favorites, one at 1.3-point favorites, one at 5-point favorites, one at 6.8-point favorites, and one at 11-point favorites. Like, so it's all over the board here, which makes sense when I'm thinking about we're talking about 2 different quarterbacks in the math. Ultimately, I said I'm following model. I'm following model because in the past year when I've gone on these model kicks and I've said, well, I'm avoiding that one because of the QB issue. That ended up being a winning one sometimes. So
Okay,
like I'm just following it, but
I was wrong. Cowboys were with Dak for 9 games and they were 3-6.
So, but yeah, the offensive statistics. I include EPA per play in this. I include DVOA. I include yards per drive stats, like yards per like drop back. I include a bunch of numbers within this model. That's all factoring into why Dallas is 2.5. Why Dallas is the bet here, and you're saying 9 out of 13. Like, okay, that's almost 75% of the math is behind Dak Prescott. That makes me more concerned about it. If I were a listener, I probably wouldn't follow this one, but I'm just blindly following it because of the model.
But what if I told you that the Cowboys were always going to lose this game?
And that makes me think they're going to win even more.
It was written in the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this if so Dallas is currently, we just talked about it. Dallas currently 5-8. If we were 8-5, we would definitely lose this game. As a 5-8 team, we might win.
Yeah, I mean, truly, if I'm looking at the rosters, I'm looking like I don't know why Carolina would throw the football in this game. Like I'm just thinking like they have a bunch of hogs on their own line that they can just run behind, and I don't think Dallas has the guys to stop the run. So I just would be running straight at them all game.
Be the running man, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and VHS.
One of the greatest videos ever, one of the greatest movies ever created. If you like the Hunger Games, you will love The Running Man.
A game that nobody survives, but yet Schwarzenegger has to play. Get it now on VHS for your loved ones for the holidays.
I'm blown away by this impromptu advertisement. That's one of my favorite movies.
Is
The
it
movie is
really?
incredible.
I found it inside of a Volkswagen bus when I worked at a Volkswagen dealership. Some dude traded in like a 78 Volkswagen bus, and it was still in the wrapper. And one of my coworkers unwrapped it, but I've kept it since then. Proudly displayed. I've never seen the movie. I just like it.
Go watch it. Go watch it when you get the chance. It is.
Should I watch it on? Should I go get a VCR?
Yeah, buy the VCR just for the experience. Go back in time. Like you gotta teach your son how things used to be.
Well, yeah, I do have an old box TV with my N64 plugged in, so maybe just go ahead and get a VCR for it too.
Yeah.
Might as well just lean fully into it. Speaking of, that was also the last time. That was the last time, or the last era that the Cowboys made an NFC Championship game. So,
gotta tie
maybe
it all
that's
together.
That's maybe what I have to do to bring them back. Go back to VHS to bring us forward.
In this game, I do like. I think Xavier Legette is open on the props in this game. I think this is an Xavier Legette makeup game for that drop.
Okay, can't hate it. Yeah, I like Panthers. I've liked the Panthers all year. This is a game I circled in the offseason as a game we would lose. But like I said, I was really hoping that we'd be closer to the 8-5 rather than the 5-8. But it is what it is. I still like the Panthers in this game. I think they're red hot right now.
All right, let's move it on over.
All right, next up we have Chiefs at Browns. Browns are 4.5-point underdogs at home with a total of 45.5. Chiefs cannot cover a 5-point spread. I'm not taking the Browns here, but the Chiefs win games. It doesn't matter how they win games, but they win games. They don't win games by 4.5. The model loves this game at Kansas City minus 4.5. And we've kind of talked about it on some past weeks that there's going to be a game that Kansas City just goes out there and lays their dick on the table and goes out and wins by 15, 20, 25 points. And so it might be this week. I don't know. I think that Browns defense is frisky. Chiefs defense looked better last week than they have in the more recent games, but still, I mean, I think the Browns can keep this close. I mean, everybody's been able to keep it close versus the Chiefs. Chiefs find a way to win. So, with the model liking the over, or with the model liking Kansas City this much, it might be time to do it because, like we've been saying, I think it's going to happen eventually. They're going to get up 20, 25 points and finally blow somebody out. So maybe you just got to catch the right week, and maybe this is the right week.
Yeah, so, I mean, looking at the math, the Chiefs have covered half their home games. Or half their road games. Excuse me, half their road games. Yeah, they've covered 50%. And the Browns have only covered a third of their home games. That's part of why the model likes
half their road
this.
games. Or is that because they've been underdogs?
I don't even remember. I'd have to go back and look at the
Yeah,
data,
it must be small spreads because they have won a couple like 1 by 6, 7, stuff like that too.
Let's see. Let's take a look. So on the road, they beat the Falcons by 5. They beat the Chargers by 7. They beat the 49ers by 10. They beat the Raiders by 7. They lost to the Bills by 9. And they beat the Panthers by 3.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, the Raiders game. Yeah, it makes sense. They covered that one because they got that late touchdown.
Yeah.
All right, yeah,
But
that makes sense then.
Model likes them here. Model makes them on average across all the models here, makes them 8.5-point favorites in this one. Thinks that Jameis gets a little wild with the football. It also, like we were saying with the Cowboys, though, the model is factoring in Deshaun Watson Browns to some extent here, and that does need to be factored in. But I'm taking the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are due to win a game pretty handedly. They're also due for a loss, but I don't think the Browns are the team to get.
Are they?
Yeah,
because even in the close games that they're winning, if you like, I've watched basically all of the Chiefs games, all 4 quarters of all their games. Most of their games, even though they're close, I mean, the eye test, they're better than the other team. So saying like they're due, like I would say a team would be due for a loss if they're like pulling it out of their ass and are outmatched the entire game and then winning. But I mean, they're in close games in spite of themselves sometimes. I mean, I was kind of talking to you about this on their game against the Chargers. I was like, does Patrick Mahomes throw like the hardest ball to catch in the NFL? Or do guys just drop? Like, is it just bad luck?
I think it's just bad luck.
They'll be walking down the field and like a 3rd and 7 drop the easiest ball you've ever seen, and then either have to punt or settle for a field goal. And you're like, well, there's points right there. And then that happens like 4 or 5 times a game, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think some of it is like with D-Hop, some of it's probably chemistry related.
Yeah.
Like he like, I remember hearing it was probably on a podcast somewhere. It was a scouting podcast, and they were talking about to a former NFL receiver about it. He's like, yeah, your chemistry with understanding what type of ball your quarterback is going to throw in what situation absolutely matters in catching and dropping the football. So like, and some of that's probably there with Xavier Worthy too, still learning some of that. If Kelsey's dropping it, I don't know what to tell you. There's no excuse there. He's all the chemistry.
Some drops this year, yeah.
I mean, it's just probably old age at this point, but
old age, personal life, maybe not as focused on the NFL as he once was.
I do just want to say, talking about that Chiefs game last week, Chargers fan, don't be that
Chargers
guy.
fan.
Don't be that guy. Don't be the guy complaining about officials at the end of the game. That wasn't a hold. By the rule of the book, that was not a hold.
I didn't even. I'm kind of muted or blocked out everybody complaining about the Chiefs. The Chiefs' 3rd string kicker also made 4 field goals on you. So,
yeah. But that's all I got to say. I just, by the letter of the law, those hands were in the right place, and if the guy rips to the side, you can keep your hands where you set them. That's not a hold.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where it just becomes a meme. Everybody wants to just jump on the Chiefs wagon. Everybody did it against the Patriots. I mean,
when I will say this about Khalil Mack, I learned this the hard way as a Bears fan. That man is the best in the NFL at looking like he's getting held when he's not, because he's so strong and so violent. You get your hands on him and he just starts ripping, and then it looks like a hold. But by the letter of the law, it's not. And I did, I used to be tweeting at NFL officiating about it, but I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this should be a fun game, though. Browns are basically completely dead. So I don't know what they do moving forward. I mean, is this an open tryout for Jameis Winston to finally find us another starting spot in the NFL? Because I think next year is technically the last year they have to keep Deshaun Watson, so, I mean, if you have to keep him anyway, Jameis would be a pretty cheap starter.
Do you remember when we had Jordan Vanek on the show right before the season, and he was talking about Jerry Jeudy against man coverage?
Oh yeah, Jerry Judy's been phenomenal these last couple of weeks.
because he keeps playing teams who play a lot of man coverage, and KC is
Yeah,
another team who's going to give you plenty of man coverage. So,
and
like,
he's seen plenty of KC in his career.
it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious how. I actually want to pull up that split. I don't know how he's done against KC historically, because most of his career has to be against Spags when he's played KC.
All of it, I would think.
Yeah. Which
but
means a lot of man coverage.
But not a lot of good quarterback play in that time either.
Yeah. I mean, so 8 games, 307 yards. So he hasn't consistently killed it. There might have been some games in there that were bigger than others, but I mean, I'm interested in that from a prop standpoint of like, can he keep doing it, because it's another team who likes man coverage a lot.
Yeah, and if you're looking at player props, look at targets for the Browns
Can you
players.
bet targets?
Yes.
Ooh, I've never seen. I don't know if you can on like FanDuel or DK, but
Oh really? I know you can on Underdog, Sleeper,
okay.
stuff like that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I figured you'd be able to on FanDuel and stuff too.
It's just it can be a speculative thing sometimes. There's 2 guys in an area, who was the target?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I don't know how they score those, but Jameis is throwing the ball like 53 times a game right now. So just pick who you think's gonna get targets. And Njoku's getting like 10 targets a game. Judy's getting like 11. I think their props have been around 7, 6. So that might be something to look into as well if you like doing those.
I'm curious what the weather is there. So it's 33 there right now. On Sunday, it's a high of 56. Okay, so nothing to worry about there. It's going to be nice weather.
Yeah.
It just dawned on me it's snow season, so like you got to be careful about that. Oh wait, I was looking at Kansas City. I need to look at Cleveland weather. Whoa, I keep thinking Kansas City's at home for this one. Sunday, so it's going to be rain. It's going to be rain. 60% chance of precipitation, like 48 degrees high. High winds at 17 miles per hour. Yeah, this is going to be an ugly game.
Yeah. Pacheco's back, running angry as ever. So, might be a Pacheco game.
It might be. I mean, I still like the Chiefs here in the rain, because I think that they are a team that's suited for the rain, like with their trenches being probably more suited to run blocking at this point with their tackle situations. Like, and I think they have some bullies in there with Pacheco back. Like, I like them in the rain.
Oh yeah, I agree. I like the Chiefs in this game, but it's hard to bet the Chiefs as a 5-point favorite on the road right now. But yeah, I mean, I get it. So we'll move on to the next game. We have Dolphins, Texans. Texans at home, 2.5-point favorites, 46.5-point total here. Model likes the under at 46.5, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really have a play on
a lean towards the Texans
spread. But... Yeah. So the Texans are quietly not very good, but I think might be the most dangerous team in the AFC right now. I mean, they haven't looked great all season, but I mean, we start getting into crunch time. I mean, they have the dudes and they can put it together. They've had injuries. They are starting to get healthy right now. CJ Stroud could start playing better down the stretch too. And the Dolphins, kind of quietly the hottest team in the league right now.
Yeah, man, the Dolphins are just doing stuff.
With a healthy Tua. I mean, they're 6-7. They got a long shot to make the playoffs, but Tua's playing
won 4 or 5.
I think so. Tua's playing phenomenally right now. So I think this is a fun game. I'm probably leading the Dolphins here. I'm not taking them, but they're playing damn good football. And Texans, they haven't clinched the division yet. I think they could clinch with the win this week. Actually, I'm not
with a win and an Indy loss. I think they do.
Yeah, they're 8-5. Indy's 6-7. Yeah, so yeah, if Indy loses one more game and Texans win one more, they're out of it. They'll clinch that division. So yeah, I like the I like the Dolphins here, but not enough to bet it. But I think it should be a fun game.
Yeah, I'm taking the under like the model's saying here. So on this one, like if you want the numbers, Miami's covered half their games on the road. Houston's only covered 40% of their games at home. Um, on the road, Miami has only gone over 17% of the time. Houston's only gone over 17% of the time. Houston in every game has only gone over 31% of the time. Miami's at 46% of the time over. So both these teams are pointing to unders in all their games so far this year. And then on top of that, just the score projections that I have within the model are all coming in below the total. All three of the score projections I have, it's 42.5, 43.4, 40. Those are all fairly significantly lower than the Vegas line. So I'm feeling pretty good about this under looking at it. Just the numbers say that the under makes sense here.
Yeah.
Now, Houston coming off the bye, that's the question here. Because if Houston can turn it into a shootout, I'm confident Miami can.
Oh, absolutely. And we saw a Tyreek Hill touchdown last week. So maybe he gets back in his groove. Nico Collins finally starting to get healthy. Maybe he gets rolling as well. So, I mean, I definitely see.
Good spot for Nico Collins props with Kendall Fuller, who he's played some outside fine. Like going years back, he was considered a slot corner. I know he's done both now, but he's up there in age. Like he's going to be the guy who seems like he's going to see a lot of snaps against him. So like I like Nico Collins in this game to go off.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next up we have Jets Jaguars, and both teams have been eliminated from playoff contention. So I don't like handicapping these games when, I mean, you have NFL players playing for their careers and potential jobs next season, but outside of that, no real stakes on the line. So with that being said, I mean, Jaguars are 3.5-point underdogs at home, 40.5-point total here. I can't touch this game anyway. I mean, I hate trying to even look at these games and figuring out what's going to happen, because if Aaron Rodgers, I mean, maybe he stays in the game, but I mean, if he has a boo-boo or something, I mean, if you're the Jets and you have any inkling at all to keep him next year, why would you really risk it? And then if you're Aaron Rodgers, if you want to put something on tape to maybe have a job somewhere else next year, maybe you go out there and try to ball. But outside of that, I mean, Jaguars got Mac Jones playing quarterback. I'm sure Trevor Lawrence is done for the season. Maybe Mac Jones is playing for a future in the NFL, but I think he signed a 2-year deal there. So, I mean, I think he's going to be there next year anyway. So, yeah, just a lot of grossness here that I'm not diving into on that. What do you think?
So I have this idea. So Aaron Rodgers, okay, he's 3-1 against Jacksonville. So that means he's only lost one game in Jacksonville. I have this idea in my head from I think one game of him playing in Jacksonville, just like dying that he can't win in Jacksonville, and I wasn't sure how true that was. The model hates this one. This is one of the two games the model says under no circumstances bet this spread because it's completely unpredictable. Like it's a 50-50 game according to the model. Like at 3.5 points, there's no reason to bet 50-50 propositions. Like it's just that's a poor plan. So I'm not betting it. It has a lean towards the over 40.5. I personally caution against that when Jacksonville's last, or I guess it was just their last game. It was 10-6, but 2 games ago, it was a 43-point total, 58 before that. But before that, it was 19. I don't know. It's a weird aspect there. I'm staying away. Stay away from this one.
Brian Thomas, good.
Yeah, I won some money on some Brian Thomas stuff this weekend.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite receivers in the draft. So glad to see him balling out there in Jacksonville. I think another thing, Jacksonville, you still have a head coach, Doug Peterson. It is December 10th, 2024, and Doug Peterson still has a job.
Well, and here's my thing with that. Like, I said this about the Bears situation. Like, I'm always kind of like, are you really gaining anything from making Press Taylor your head coach or Ryan Neal? Like, what are you gaining knowledge-wise about that, besides just, like, we don't
I
think
think
he's
the
great?
Bear situation, you kind of see what you got.
Well,
And
that's
get
what
the
I'm
guy
saying. That was
in-house.
the argument with the Bears situation. It's like Thomas Brown is probably going to be interviewing with you for the head coach spot. It's really important you find out if he can do this job right now. But
Yeah.
for the Jags, I don't think there's any urgency with their staff to find out about a guy. So it's like, whatever.
Do you
I end up
think?
not caring if Doug Peterson has a job still or not.
Do you think if they called Mike Vrabel and Mike Vrabel was like, "Yeah, I'll take the job. I just want y'all to fire Doug Peterson right now," do you think that would happen?
Yeah, I think they do it in a heartbeat for that.
So, if that's the case, it's like if you can already kind of go out and talk to some of these guys that, I mean, like a Belichick or a Vrabel, or maybe somebody in college that was born on third base, that coaches at a school that you went and got a coach from previously. Maybe they already have something in the works there, so they're just like, it doesn't matter anyway. The season's over. Finish out the season, Doug.
Are you talking about a guy whose name rhymes with Diane Ray?
Brian Gay.
Yeah, Brian Gay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Legend. Legend of the fraternity house. Well, yeah.
No reason
definitely.
to bet that game.
No reason to bet that game. Next up, Commanders Saints. Saints 7-point dogs at home, 43.5-point total here. Model X New Orleans at 7 points. I think is Derek Carr playing, or is he going to do what he did last year and go out there with like crutches and a walking boot and an arm sling and just refuse to not play? Because I thought, from the sounds of it, I think he's broken. But we thought he was broken last year, and he just kept playing.
Okay, I've got to update this. I didn't even realize he was hurt. I have an adjustment.
Well, we thought this last year, and he just kept playing.
All right, so they are no longer a pick. I think there's real questions about whether he plays. This is going down to 60%, according to my model. This isn't my physical model. This is just the template, or this is just the presentation template. But I just plugged it into the real model, and it put it down to 60% when I did my backup quarterback who hasn't played any games yet adjustment. So that is no longer a pick.
So he's got a fracture in his hand.
Yeah.
And as of right now, he is not going to IR, and he is week to week. Mind you, they are, I guess, not technically eliminated from playoffs yet, but they are 5-8. And the quarterback that I think he's like the 5th highest paid quarterback in the league right now, something like that, has a broken hand when you're 5-8, and
he's also in concussion protocol.
Also in concussion protocol with a broken hand, and you're 5-8. Your other, I don't know if you would call Taysom Hill their other quarterback, but your other football player that you have a lot of faith in is out for the season. And then you have Jake Hayner of Fresno State and Spencer Rattler, the legend that was of Oklahoma
One-time
and
Heisman
South
favorite.
Carolina. One-time Heisman favorite. I don't understand why you don't just put him on IR. Maybe it's just one. We'll see after this week. I think if Tampa wins and they lose, they're definitely out. If Tampa, Atlanta both lose and they win, I guess you're a game back with 3 left. So
I wonder if there's this is pure speculation. I'm not sure if this would matter or not. I wonder if there's an injury clause in his contract. If he ends on IR, something gets guaranteed for the future.
Well, then if you're Derek Carr, you'd want to go on IR.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think that's why the Giants just we're done with Daniel Jones because they didn't want the injury guarantees to kick in.
Well, they could have also just benched him and saved. I think it was like a $10 million difference, and they ended up just eating it anyway to release him.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that was.
I wonder
I
if
think
there's
that was
something
more of
going
like
on
a.
here of the Saints trying to like hold off.
Yeah, but I think they're locked into next year anyway, so I don't think
Are
that
they?
would matter too
It
much.
could be 2
I
years
think
down the
so.
line. It could matter for 2 years down the line.
Oh yeah, that is very true. But yeah, I don't. Same kind of vibes here. I don't know if I trust the Commanders enough to beat a down and out Saints team by 7, but outside of that, I do like this Commanders team with Brian Robinson healthy. So I want the Commanders to go out and win this game. I would like the Commanders to go out and have a good season. And I want to see Cliff Kingsbury somewhere else next year. I definitely don't want to see him stay the OC in Washington, so I want Washington to win.
So last like 4 games, actually, this passing offense for Washington has been not what it was. Like it's been coming back down to earth.
That was to be
Excuse me.
expected, I think.
Yeah. I'm not saying the Saints are going to cover without Derek Carr. If Derek Carr was there, I really liked the Saints here. I thought they were going to be feisty as hell in this one and give the commies some issues. Oh man, this is going to kill the over too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just noticed that I had the over.
Low over,
as
though.
well.
Hey, they put Spencer Rattler in there. There's a lot of talent on that team, man. And say what you want about Spencer Rattler. Ugly as sin, but throws a pretty football.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So this comes down to a 70% on that, which is not a bet. That's just a lean.
Just a lean. Yeah, and yeah, I would probably lean the Commanders here to win, maybe in a teaser. Throw them in your 6-point teaser, 7-point teaser, or whatever. I think that's pretty good value, but at 7 points, it's the NFL. I mean, anything can happen. So, kind of brings us to our next game here: Ravens Giants, 14.5. Giants underdog, 43.5-point total here. Model likes Giants at 14.5, likes the over at 40, or leans the over at 43% here. I have a hard time taking NFL spreads at more than 2 touchdowns, and Ravens probably win this game by 60. I don't know, but other than that, I mean, you never know, too. I mean, Tyrone Tracy come out, break a couple big runs. I mean, Malik Neighbors is definitely a dude. They still have some talent on the defensive line, even losing Dexter Lawrence. So it's one of those where I could see a path to the Giants losing by 6 to 8, or even like a 3-point game. I could see the path. I don't think it's very likely, but it's just such a huge number. I wouldn't even tease the Giants up to 20, honestly. Like I
was just thinking, I
avoid it.
put together a few teasers already, and I was like, do I want that? And I ended up being like, no, I don't want that. Since I'm gonna pull up these numbers right now as we're doing this. Since 2021, 14.5-point or larger dogs in the NFL are 9-8-2 against the spread. So you're talking a 52% proposition there. Let's see, home dogs of 14.5 or bigger are 3-0 against the spread. Small sample, but something to consider there. I'm not touching it. If you gave me $1,000 to bet on this game, I don't know that I'd bet the straight up spread at all. I might tease it. I might take some alt lines. I do a lot of props. I don't know that I'd touch 14.5. I'd probably do some Giants money line just because it's like juice to sin, but like
juice to the gills.
But I'm not touching plus 14.5. Like I just don't see the point of it.
Yeah, no, ain't no way I'm touching that game.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Bengals Titans. Titans 4.5-point dogs at home, 46.5-point total here. Cincinnati is going to be one of these teams that we talk about 5-10 years down the line about how good this offense was and just how, if you want to call it dysfunctional, bad, whatever it is, with this defense, with this team, with this coaching staff. I don't know. I mean, you're playing a backup Dallas Cowboys quarterback on prime time, and you're not technically eliminated from the playoffs, but you're all but eliminated from the playoffs, and you give up a block punt. It ended up working out in your favor, but I mean, just everything that can go wrong will go wrong for them, except their offense, it seems like. And Joe Burrow's going to have a historic season. He's probably going to hit 5,000 passing yards. Probably going to hit in the 40s for touchdowns if I were to bet. Don't know what his numbers are right now, but I know they are absolute bonkers. So, yeah, just a wasted season from a former number 1 overall pick, which really sucks for you. Yeah, he's at 3,700 yards right now and 33 touchdowns with 4 games left. He's got
facing 4,846 yards, 43 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions over 17 games.
Yeah. That's MVP numbers right there. And I don't even think he's in the top 5 for MVP. But yeah, it's just a crying shame what this coaching staff, what this defense did to this team. The model doesn't like this total here. It technically, I guess, has the under at 49%, which 1% difference.
Don't bet the under. Yes, it's saying stay the hell away. But yeah, technically, if there's a lead, it's to the under.
Yeah, I'm taking the over in this game. I think this Bengals offense is so good, and I think the Titans got some playmakers that can maybe do something against this defense. I mean, Rico Dowdle looked like an all-pro last night against that Bengals run defense. Tony Pollard's having a hell of a season very quietly for the Titans. I think Calvin Ridley can get open there for the Titans as well. I think points can be scored in this game, and Joe Burrow is going to score points. So I like the over in this game, but outside of that, I'm not touching nothing.
You know what?
I am taking the over there.
I'm deviating a little here from the model. I'm taking Bengals -4.5. Like
they're still playing ball. The only reason why I leaned against it is just because they've been so unpredictable. And I'm like, the Bengals are either going to cover 4.5 or the over is going to hit. And I have more faith that the Bengals defense lets them down, that the over hits. But I think the Bengals score every bit of 24 points.
So what just convinced me? At home or on the road, the Bengals have covered 86% of their games. All but one road game this year they've covered on the road. So like that, and that right there tells me they're playing above expectation on the road consistently. To your point with the over, Bengals have gone over 69% of the time. Titans have gone over 58% of the time. But the Titans haven't been able to score at home. That's been the tough part for them. So, which is odd, but like they've really sucked it. They've only hit the over 20% of their games at home.
Yeah, but I mean that Bengals defense, I mean, they couldn't. Rico Dowdle looked fantastic last night, and he is not looked good this year at all.
Just to play devil's advocate, the Titans just scored 6 points against the Jaguars last week.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that'll happen again, but like that's what scares me about the over. That's like the model is representing here.
Yeah, but I think Tony Pollard could rush for 165 yards. Whether that translates to points, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so, you can definitely running backs can have big games without it transferring to points. So
yeah. But I'm taking Bengals -4.5. The model is on that. I like at 78%. It's right there at it, but it's not actually a model pick. So I'm going rogue on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Next up here we have Patriots, Cardinals. Cardinals 5.5-point favorites at home, 46.5-point total here. Cardinals had themselves a nice little run. I think they were a year early. I think they're going to still be a good team. They got some good young pieces. They're going to go out and hopefully get another nice draft pick here. I think they can win this game. I think they can possibly even cover. I'm staying away from it because I think this Patriots team is frisky right now. I like Drake May a lot. So 5.5 is always a weird number that I try to avoid too. So for that reason, I'm not taking the Cardinals, but it was fun when the Cardinals were frisky, and I think they're coming back down to earth a little bit. I think we said it in our preseason rankings. I mean, that they were going to win 6 to 9 games, and they're sitting at 6 games right now. I think their win total was 3.5, 4, something like that. So, I mean, we blew past that. We knew they were going to be better than.
They've been good against the spread. I think
Yeah.
the sentiment kind of shifted a little too fast. So the team we're not sleeping on this year, but to me, that was about the spread. Like I thought they were going to be a spread.
That was about the spread and
the spread.
Overperforming expectations, we thought as well, and which they did. So, I mean, we're still not sleeping on them, but now I feel like it's kind of swung so far the other way that I'm sitting here. I'm like, well, you giving me the Patriots 5.5? Like they're not that much. I don't think the talent difference between the Patriots and the Cardinals is 5.5. Marvin Harrison Jr. Has shown flashes this season, but if I'm a Cardinals fan, I'm a little concerned about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think all 3 of the big wide receivers from this class haven't produced exactly like it was expected out the gate. I think all 3 are going to be fine and be good players.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they've exactly hit the expectations that
I think Neighbors
may have gotten too high.
I think Neighbors gets a pass.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
And then the Odunze situation, I mean, 2 touchdowns last week, but outside of that, I mean, he's had some pretty bad plays, but I think all 3 have shown promise. I don't even
think Odunze's had bad play as much as he's the number 3 receiver.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, I don't think any of these 3 teams with Odunze, Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going into next year being like, we might have fucked that up. Like I think you confidently go into next year with all 3 of these guys. Thinking
not
you still have
Johnston.
No.
Yeah.
Kind of having a resurgence, I guess.
Yeah. In this game, like I'm staying away. Model's staying away. Has a pretty strong lean towards the under though. Which, if we look at the numbers here, if we check if the math's mathing, New England has covered half their games on the road. Arizona has covered 57% of their games at home. Overall, Arizona is covered at a 62% rate. New England only at a 42% rate. The over, New England is hitting 62% of the time, but only 33% of the time on the road. Cardinals hitting the over only 42% of the time, 43% of the time at home. So that kind of points you to your lean to the under and lean to the Cardinals covering this number. Along with the projected spreads. The projected spreads have the Cardinals -7 in this one. I think the Patriots have been playing some better football since Drake May's gotten in there. He's been pretty impressive, so I'm staying away.
Yeah. And next up we have Colts, Broncos. Broncos 3.5-point favorites at home, 44.5-point total here. This is kind of a game that will decide both of these teams' futures for this season, whether or not they make the playoffs. Neither can really afford a loss. Broncos sitting right now in the 7th seed at 8-5. Indy is sitting at 6-7. Still technically has a shot at the division, but
if they win, this is big to win this one for them. If
they
win this one, they're right back in it.
They're a game back of the division, and they're a game back of the wild card if they win this one. So, I don't think Indy can win this game. Broncos have been playing really good at home. Their defense is incredible. I don't trust Anthony Richardson in this spot. I'm not taking the Broncos at 3.5 just because of the hook. But what do the Colts? How do the Colts win this game? Because I don't know how the Colts win this game.
couple explosive plays, Bo Nix turnovers, like a couple explosive Anthony Richardson plays, and some
Yeah.
Broncos turnovers, and a big day from Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, that basically sums it up. But I mean, I think the Broncos go out there and I think they run the ball better than them. I think they control the clock better than them. I think they play better defense, and those are really the three things that the Colts have to do to win. And I think the Broncos are so much better than them at those three things.
Yeah.
So I don't see it happening. But yeah, this is the last stand for the Colts. So maybe we see something. Anthony Richardson is a absolute freak of nature. So it'll be fun.
I'm taking Broncos. I think the Broncos defense is going to eat Anthony Richardson up. He might have a few explosive plays, but like I don't know if that's going to be enough. I mean, I guess the explosive plays I think happen either way, but it's about Anthony Richardson's consistency. I know I said explosive plays are how they win, but I think his consistency is really needed for them to win, combined with Jonathan Taylor having a big day. And against this Broncos defense, which is a unit, I just don't know how that happens. On the numbers, Colts have covered on the road at 57% rate. Denver's covered at home 67% of the time. It's a strong number. On the road, the Colts are going over at 43%. Denver at home is going over at 67%. So you kind of have polar ends of the spectrum there. So you stay away from that. But to me, Denver is the team that is just rolling right now. They're feeling good. Like, I don't think the Colts have the recipe to upset them here.
Yeah.
I think there is a very distinct recipe to beat the Broncos. I just don't know if the Colts have it.
Yeah. All right. And then next up, game of the week, we have Bills at Lions. Lions 1.5 point favorites here, 54.5 point total. This is another over. I think I'm taking 54. So, I mean, 54 and a half. I like it either way. But Bills were just in a shootout. I think they get another shootout here. I think the Lions defense, the injuries are finally starting to catch up with them. But that offense is absolutely rocking and rolling. And you look at what the Rams just did to this Bills secondary, and you look at Jamison Williams, you look at Monroe St. Brown, you look at Sam Laporta, you look at Gibbs coming out of the backfield. Montgomery is catching the ball out of the backfield well also. So I don't know how you stop Josh Allen right now. He is absolutely on fire. And that Lions defensive line losing Alan McNeil is absolutely devastating to him. If he's not back, I'm not sure if he is or not. But I think we see points here. I think this is an over game. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like 28-21, like halfway through the second quarter, and we're already at 49. It's in Detroit, so I mean you don't got to worry about the weather, and it's two teams fighting tooth and nail to get that one seed. Bills got the win over the Chiefs, so they got to keep winning, and the Eagles are right on the heels of the Lions for the one seed in the NFC. So this could be a Super Bowl matchup. It should be electric, and I think we see points.
I mean, I understand where you're coming with at the over. I actually kind of like that. I'm not taking it, but I think the Bills have a pretty rough run defense relative to, their peers as like Super Bowl contenders. And the Lions are the best running team in the NFL. Plus they can they can sling the rock at the same time. Josh Allen looks superhuman right now. I think he's on a heater and might be, we've said this before with Josh Allen. You've said it before. I wanted to buy into the heater. You're like, he's too early. He might be too early again, but he's on a heater. He's going to be on a heater, I think. So
yeah,
I get liking the over. I'm not taking it. I kind of want to, but ultimately I'm staying away from this one. I can see either team winning this. I can see a lot of points being scored. Looking at the math on it, Bills have covered both these teams home on the road. Bills have covered at 57% at home. Lions have covered at 57%. So you're equal there on the road. Bills have gone over only 43%, while Detroit has gone over 57% of the time at home. that is probably factoring in here a little to the under, but it's more just the math. Like the totals that the math is coming out for the under or for the total is 51.8, 51.3, 48.8, and 55.2. So one of the models thinks it does go over. The other two in the average think it goes under. I'm staying away. I like that over though. Like I think that's a fun bet.
All right. Now we have the other game of the week. We have Steelers Eagles battle of Pennsylvania. Eagles
Battle of the
5.5 point favorite.
Steagles.
Steagle, 42.5 point total here. Model likes Pittsburgh here at 5.5. I like Pittsburgh here. I have them at 4.5. I love it at 5.5. Two of the best defenses in football square off. The total being so low, I would have loved this under. But I thought it was going to be sitting around 46, 48. At 42, I mean that they make it. They're making it real hard on you there. So avoiding this total, but I love the Steelers in this spot. I think the Eagles are playing a little bit of borrowed time right now. I said it last week going in. I love the Panthers in that game, and I couldn't bring myself to bet it. I freaking teased the Eagles down to +7 or -7, and it killed me. It killed me 12 times over. I knew I should have teased the Panthers. We talked about it on the show last week. I said I liked the Panthers. They had a chance to win the game late. Xavier Legette drops the ball. I think the Eagles are extremely, extremely talented. I think Saquon Barkley should be in the running top 2, top 3 for MVP right now. But something's not there for him, and it was just like last year when I was calling the Eagles out. And I'm not saying they're frauds because I think they're a good team, but their win total I think is a little fraudulent. And the Steelers just find ways to win these big games. They're sitting at 10-3 right now. Baltimore's at 8-5. If they win this game, it's going to be real hard for Baltimore to claw back and take that division from them. Steelers want that home game in the first round. So give me Baltimore or give me Pittsburgh +5.5 here.
Model agrees with you. I agree with you. I'm taking Pittsburgh plus the 5.5. I think even if they don't win this game 5, like they're gonna make it tight in my mind. That's what they've done all year. Like look at the numbers. Pittsburgh has covered 71% of their games on the road, 77% of all their games they've covered, while Philly has only covered 20% of their home games. 62% of all their games they've covered well on the road, but at home they really haven't covered well for whatever reason. And if we want to talk the total, on the road, Pittsburgh's going over 71% of the time. Philly's going over at home only 20% of the time. So I don't really like the total here. I think I could see Vic Fangio's unit having a day and Pittsburgh's defense living up to their talent, and like they're probably the best defense in the NFL. So I could see that happening. I could see both these teams doing well with AJ Brown being a problem for Joey Porter Jr. Like I don't see Saquon
Big receiver
having a
matchup
massive
here.
game. I'm actually really disappointed for my teams that are in the playoffs this week because I have Saquon on 2 of those teams, and it's just like I don't know against the Steelers. That's going to be tough.
We got a bye in our league though, so we're good there.
Yeah.
Huge wide receiver matchup here. I mean, I don't like the term diva, but eclectic, polarizing wide receivers. I think AJ Brown and George Pickens are probably top 2 on that list in the NFL, squaring off. It's a little reminiscent of the Ocho Cinco Steve Brown or Steve Smith matchups back in the day. So yeah, looking forward to a little wide receiver drama here. Hopefully, maybe we see some celebrations back and forth between the 2 of them. Maybe we see some fights. I'm excited for that aspect of this game.
Maybe we see CJ Gardner Johnson get punched in the face again.
I think he's out.
Is he? I thought he came back last week, but
Oh, did he? I don't know.
he came back in the game after you said that. But
I've never cheered so hard for Philadelphia in my life, just to be heartbroken. It felt sick. All right. Yeah, and there's nothing worse than cheering for Philadelphia to win by more than 7, and they get the win by 6. And I'm like, I just cheered for Philadelphia for 3 hours. They got the win and they didn't cover. It's like a double kick in the dick to a Cowboys fan. Next up, we have Buccaneers, Chargers. Another big game. Chargers 3-point favorites at home, 46.5-point total here. Both teams need this win. Chargers are having a good season, but they're not quite locked into the playoffs right now. They're sitting as the 6th seed right now, 8-5. They got Indianapolis and Miami both nipping at their heels, and Kansas City has already clinched the division, and Buccaneers are in a division race, so this should be fun. I have the Chargers -3 in this spot. I think Harbaugh comes out here. I think they play good defense. I think they run the ball. I think they get it going on offense, especially if Lad McConkey's back. I mean, I think he's a game changer for that offense. I think that was evident last week when they didn't have him. So I like the Chargers in the spot to cover 3, but it's hard to count out Baker as well. So I think the Buccaneers can afford a loss more than the Chargers can. And for whatever logic that is, I like the Chargers here.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this one. Model as a lean towards Tampa and a lean towards the under. Math says that the model makes Tampa a 0.5 point dog in this one. And it has the total at 46. So like right on the spot with the total, a little bit different on the spread, but not giant. Tampa has covered both these teams. Tampa's covered 67% of their road games. Chargers have covered 67% of their home games. Tampa's gone over in 67% of their road games, while the Chargers have only gone over in 50% of their home games. So take that for what you will. I'm staying away. I do think this is going to be a fun one. I think we're going to see some wild ups and downs from Baker, and we're going to see Justin Herbert be put in positions of you got to show it, and we'll see if he shows it.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's not good, but we'll save that for the offseason.
His numbers are, exactly what you expected with a Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman offense. Like, I mean, he's at, pulling it up right now, he's at 2,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, like just through 13 games. Like that's, about 1 touchdown per game. And
he
that
missed
feels right for
a
Jim
lot
Harbaugh
of big time.
offense.
He missed a lot of big time throws in that game, and I was just sitting there like, Charger fan is so mad right now.
Well, like, so people were saying he was going to have an MVP season. It was like, when has a Jim Harbaugh quarterback ever had an MVP season? Like, that's not what is. That's not what they're cooking.
MVP type playoff run and last 6 games of the season.
Right, and that was with his legs, though. Like his legs had to be factored into that.
We know you like them legs.
All right, moving on.
All right, we got Packers, Seahawks. Seahawks 2.5 point home dogs, 46.5 point total here. I don't know what to think about either one of these teams. I think the Packers might be the most dangerous team in the NFC right now, but at the same time, they could just not show up and not have to worry about it. Or they're the best team in football. I think that's about all you get out of Green Bay right now. And the Seahawks, they are what they've been the last 3 years. I don't know where they go after this season because they're a good, solid team. Gino's Gino. He's a top 13 quarterback.
And
a top 13 quarterback is good enough to maybe win you some games, but also bad enough to lose you some games. I think on the ball right now, right now, and Jackson Smith and Jigba looks phenomenal. One of my favorite players in the draft a couple of years ago. Didn't really have a bad season last year, but you kind of just kept waiting for it. And I think he's starting to take that next step. I mean, I was talking to you about it on Sunday. I mean, I think he might be my favorite player in fantasy next year as a guy that I must have. Like, I always pick guys that are in that 3rd to 6th round range that I'm like, no matter what, I'm getting this guy on my team. I think he might be that for me next year. He's having an incredible back half of this season.
If he lasts that long next year, he's wide receiver 6 in PPR right now.
Yeah. I'm just trying to project. I mean, you're still gonna have like I don't think he'll go wide receiver 6 is what I'm saying next year.
Yeah.
Even though I think he should. But yeah, when you look at the wide receiver talent around the league, the names and everything, he's gonna definitely be a guy that you can find value in, I think. But we'll just have to see how that goes. Neither here nor there. I'm excited for this game. I'm not betting on this game. If I did, I'd probably lean the Packers, just solely based on Seahawks have had back-to-back good weeks, but they haven't really been able to string together a long like a bunch of wins together in the Geno era. It always seems like they'll win 2 or 3 and then have a what the fuck game. So with back-to-back good games and good wins, I think they're due to put up a stinker. So I lean the Packers for that reason, but I also don't trust the Packers at all. So
yeah,
I'm not betting it.
I'm with you. If I like anything in this game, it's probably some JSN props. The Packers have had a hard time shutting down slot receivers, and JSN is eating out of the slot right now. So I like that in this game. Aside from that, a part of me kind of likes Seahawks money line. A part of me also likes the over because I don't really trust Green Bay's defense. I think the Seahawks have the tools to make them pay, but because someone's got to make the Packers pay. But
so we're in fantasy playoffs. What is your message to Jaden Reed owners, specifically me, on what to do with this? What to do with this guy?
I mean, the numbers say that you start him this week, I think, because
that's what they said last week.
Very similar.
Well, zero. Yeah. Zero.
So here's what's so frustrating.
I think he was one of the most taken players in props and daily lineups and like all those, like,
because the Lions have struggled
like
with slot receivers. They have. And you know how many routes Jaden Reed ran last week?
Less than 10, it felt like.
15. That's it.
He was never on the field.
Well, they only dropped back 24 times. Which is wild in a game that was 31-34. But with all the injuries to the Lions, like why would you get out of heavy when they're D-line?
I had Josh Jacobs in a league. That it didn't matter if I won and lost in. And then in our fraternity league, I really wanted to. I guess it didn't really matter if I lost in that one either, but I wanted to win. Josh Jacobs has like 46 points in the league that doesn't matter. And then my other league, Jaden Reed put up a 0.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough look for Jaden Reed. I had him in one league where I had the same thing. It was just I couldn't believe it. But
we're actually talking about the same 2 leagues here.
Yeah,
you started him in our league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
funny. Opposite reasons though. You were trying to clinch the 1 seed.
I do think the Seahawks run defense is a lot better than Detroit's right now. So they're going to have a harder time just staying in heavy and pounding the rock up the middle like they did with the Lions last week, where they just said, well, why would we stop doing this? We're just going to keep doing it over and over and over. Jaden Reed has let's see. Oh, I found it earlier. Come on. Because he's a guy who's really eating out of the slot. 80% of his snaps are in the slot. Devon Witherspoon's a good player, but he hasn't been like the dude this year. Against the run, he's really good, but like in coverage, he can be beat. So there's some reason to like Jaden Reed there. I don't love him, but there's reason to like him. Last week against Detroit, you should have loved him because Kendall Vildor in the slot, like Yeah, and not Kindle Vildor. Amik Robertson starting in the slot for Detroit. You're like, yeah, that's not. He's an outside cornerback trying to play slot just because he's short. They put him in the slot, but like I said, Detroit got so hurt up the middle. Why would you stop running the football? But in this Packers Seahawks game, I'm staying away. Probably take some JSN props.
Yeah. All right. Now, your beloved Chicago Bears.
It's a toxic relationship.
Going to Minnesota, take on the Vikings. Vikings are 7-point favorites here. With 44.5 point total here. I like the over in this game. Model leans the under. I mean, the Vikings defenses look pretty good. I still think Thomas Brown gets this offense rolling. I think the 49ers had a perfect game plan and Kyle Shanahan can do that to people. Sometimes you just get Kyle Shanahan, and sometimes he is just the smartest guy in the room, and I think that happened last week. I think every week is a job interview for Thomas Brown. I think the Bears are going to be able to score. I also think Sam Darnold's playing lights out right now. I mean, he's playing like a top 10 quarterback. He's not a top 10 quarterback, but he's playing like one. But it doesn't hurt when you have Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson to throw the ball to either, and TJ Hawkinson and Aaron Jones playing at the level that he's played at this season. So, yeah, he's got a lot of help. So, I think the Bears can score in this game. I think the Vikings will definitely score in this game. I like the over. The 7-point spread. I think the Bears can win outright. If you're looking to put some juicy parlays together and you want a big like plus 300 number or something, I don't know what the money line is on that actually, but if you want to take some big underdogs on the money line, I think the Bears are absolutely live this week. So
I hope you're right. I'm staying away from it. The Bears have been god awful on the road this year. They have not won a road game this year. They have lost by 25, lost by 3, lost by 3, lost by 1, lost by 20, lost by 3, lost by 5, and lost by 6. So a lot of close games in there. Like, to your logic, that has to come around at some point. But like, man, the Vikings just seem like they're rolling. Bears have only covered in 20% of their road games this year. Vikings are covering at home at 67%. Bears have only gone over on the road 17% of their games. Vikings have only gone over at home 33%, which is surprising. I would have thought that was higher. But I just can't. I can't go with the Bears again here. Which probably means this will be the week they probably cover because I've been like hitting them every week, and it's just like, well, they've covered actually a fair amount the last few weeks, but they haven't won, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just bittersweet. Like I can't do it again. So I'm staying away. I hope this is the week they finally get something. They look they looked dead last week.
That was bad. That was probably the worst they looked all season, in my opinion. But I don't watch them as closely as you do, obviously.
Patriots and Cardinals were probably worse, but like Patriots was the low point of the season. You can only score 3 points against the Patriots. Like that's your low point. That is rock bottom.
As a Bears fan, is this the most you've been looking forward to next season in a long time? Because I think they've shown a lot of promise. Defenses look good in times. I mean, years past, I mean, I guess you had the Mitchell Trubisky playoff run with the double doink where you had a lot of hope going in. So hard to judge that one. But I feel like if you're sitting there, you're going to have a decent pick, maybe sure up some things you're not sure about. I think you still got a lot of money to spend, don't you?
Yeah, they do.
And
it's
Caleb's look good. I mean, I think the Bears are in a pretty advantageous position right now, and as long as you're seeing steps forward by Caleb every week, which I think we are, and I think we even saw some good things from Caleb in the 49ers game, if we're being honest. I think you're in a good spot here where if you win, great. You've lost enough games already to where a win, you're not going to be like, oh man, like we're going to miss on somebody. I think you've won enough games to where you're kind of out of like the big like top 5, 6 guys, but once you start getting I think 8 to 14 range, I mean, I think you're going to be pretty happy with just about anybody there. So, I mean, I think the Bears are in a good spot, very advantageous. So it's just fun down the stretch. I mean, you get to live, you get to learn. You're basically having an open tryout for head coach right now, so see what you got in the future. So, I think you're in a good spot if you're a Bears fan right now.
Yeah,
as good
Bears.
as good as
Live,
you could
laugh,
be.
love. You know.
Yeah, as good as you could be. Obviously, I mean, ideally, you wouldn't have brought Eberflus into this season. But
here's my thing: how can I trust the Bears? They fuck up every good situation. Over and over and over. You asked if this was the most excited I've been going into an offseason in a long time. No, I'm less excited than I was last offseason. Last offseason, I was like, they're getting Caleb Williams. This is the moment where they can turn everything around. You move on from Flus. You might even move on from Ryan Poles here. You just hit a hard reset and you go for it. And they didn't do that. They took Caleb, but they didn't hit the reset button. And it's like, now we're back in this cycle of shit. To put it in Jim Leahy terms, the shitbirds are stirring. They're circling. The shithawks are circling, and they're dropping shits on everybody's head. And that's what the McCaskies are doing with the Bears. Like, there is hope. Kevin Warren is a reason to be hopeful. Like, in my mind, because Kevin Warren is the team president. New team president, former Big
he's
Ten
the guy
commissioner.
Who hates football.
What?
He hates football.
What do you mean?
He tried to cancel football in the COVID season.
Oh, yeah, whatever. That was a tough time to navigate anything. He was trying to do what was right. But Kevin Warren is a guy who has been around this league for a long time. He was an agent at one point. He won a Super Bowl ring with the Rams. You had Dick Vermeil saying that man was as integral to us winning the Super Bowl as anyone in this organization. Maybe that was lip service. I don't know. But I think there's a lot of reason to be excited about what Kevin Warren's bringing for the Bears. So that's the one thing.
Hires Dick Vermeil?
Maybe. Hey, you know what? Who am I to say it's wrong? I'm wrong about the Bears all the time. But like, that does give me hope. But the fact of the matter is you have wasted a year of Caleb's career on this. And I'm just praying that there aren't bad habits from it, because I think there have to be.
Yeah, but still a lot of talent there. And I think Caleb is a pro's pro, to where some guys may develop bad habits in that situation, but I think he's very coachable. I think he does what he's told. So I think if you get the right coach in there, I don't think it'll impact him long term.
Go get Ben Johnson. Just go get Ben Johnson. Give him whatever he wants in the offensive line. Make it work, and pray that Caleb doesn't have some superhero habits that was the worry about him coming out of college already, and it's probably only gotten bigger going into your.
What about Lincoln Riley?
No, I don't want Lincoln Riley.
Cliff Kingsbury.
No, I'm not interested in Cliff.
Keller.
I mean, to be fair, I think you could do worse than Cliff, because look at Kyler Murray. He's just fine. He didn't destroy him. You could do worse than Cliff, but like I don't understand why you aim so low.
So, well, we've talked about it before with their coaching hires. So let me say you have, for some reason, Ben Johnson doesn't take the job. I think if Ben Johnson is offered the job and he gets the money that he wants, he will take the job. But at the same time, he kind of seems like he's in this type of situation where he can name his price, and if it doesn't, he'll just go back to OC for another year with all that talent they have and that offensive line they have in Detroit, and wait it out another year. I think the Bears are the best candidate for the job if you were to take a job this offseason. So we'll see about that. But let's say, obviously, we want Ben Johnson. But we'll also say that Vrabel might be second best option. But if you're between Kellen Moore, Lincoln Riley, and Cliff, is there a preference there, or are you just not happy with that trio?
I'm just not happy with that trio. Like, you are aiming so low when you should be aiming high. Like, you should be going after hell. I mean, at the end of the day, like, yes, Caleb is what's most important to me, but along with that, the Bears have a rotten culture right now. Like, the stink of
Vrabel,
losing is just emanating from that building and from every player in it. And Vrabel is a guy who can, I think, flip that. I don't know how much I like Vrabel from an offense or quarterback standpoint, but from a whip guys into shape standpoint, I think Vrabel's there. And that's like that. If Vrabel's not my top choice, he might not even be my second choice. But you know what? I understand it.
yeah. I think you could do a lot worse than Vrabel.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you were saying, I mean, it's all about Caleb, really. But I think Vrabel could get an OC in there. And as far as team culture goes, hard to beat a guy like Vrabel. So
Yeah. But I want nothing to do with Bears Vikings. I'm not touching it.
then last but not least, Falcons are all but dead. Luckily, they have a game against the Raiders this week, who I don't even know if they have a quarterback at this point. Brock Bowers is leading the league in receptions. He broke the rookie tight end record with 4 games left. Brock Bowers is phenomenal. He is fantastic. I guess it just doesn't matter who's throwing in the ball. My only knock on him was that his helmet fit weird in college. It doesn't fit weird in the NFL, so I'm fully back on the Brock train here. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about this. I think the Falcons are absolutely dead. They're technically not, but the Falcons are dead. I have no faith in the Falcons moving forward. Kirk Cousins is bad. And maybe it's his age combined with coming off an Achilles injury. Maybe something is just cursed in Atlanta. I don't know, but Kyle Pitts still is. Maybe this is just what Kyle Pitts is at this point. Drake London played good at the beginning of the year. He's been a ghost here lately. Bijan shows flashes, but nothing to write home about. The offensive line isn't performing nearly as well as they had hoped. The defense isn't playing nearly as well as they're getting paid. There's just not a whole lot of good things about the Falcons right now, and as 4.5 point favorites on the road, even against the Raiders, I can't trust it. So I would probably lean Falcons just because I don't think the Raiders care about anything right now. I mean, they seem so lifeless, but at the same time, they have one of the best players in the league in Brock Bowers and one of the best players on defense in the league in Max Crosby. And those guys play hard, and those guys are fun to watch. So if Brock Bowers and Max Crosby can go out there and just will them to victory, maybe they can. But outside of them two, is there really anybody that gives you hope on this Raiders team?
Not really. I mean, so to switch it back to the Falcons for a second, you know how many playoff teams the Falcons have played? Like teams who are in the playoffs if they started right now?
Trying to think. They played the NFC East, so to their own division. Probably not a whole lot.
9.
Oh. So they have played a whole lot.
Yeah, they're 3-6 against those teams. Like, so it's not good against those teams, but they're 3-1
So they played
in their other
They played
games.
the AFC North?
No, they played Pittsburgh, Philly, KC, Tampa, Seattle, Tampa, Denver, Chargers, and Vikings.
So they played Pittsburgh, the AFC West, AFC East, and then whoever they caught out of the NFC. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes
something like
sense.
that. But so like that does give me some hope here where I'm looking at their schedule and it's like, okay, finish off with Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. Like you can win 3 of those 4. Like definitely. You
Put them
can
at
win
10 and
3 of those
7.
4. That will put them at 9-8. But
9-8, yeah,
if they
3
can
of the
beat the
4.
commies, 10-7, like they're right there too.
Yeah.
So, and that's about where we had them coming into the season. Like, so to me, I'm looking at that and going, well, they're about where we expected them to be.
But Kirk Cousins has looked so bad.
But Cousins has looked bad the last few weeks, especially. So I don't know where that leaves you. I'm not betting this game. I could a part of me wants to take Atlanta -4.5, but I'm not sure I can in good faith do that right now. The model puts them at 5.1 point favorites, so 4.5, 5.1 right there. Model puts the total at 45.3, so just slightly over there. On the season, Atlanta's covered half their road games. Raiders have covered 40% of their home games. Atlanta has gone over in half of their road games. Raiders have gone over 80% of their road games. So, I mean, just based on that, you can consider the over here. The model still says that the numbers aren't hashing that out quite as well as the averages are over the course of the season. But so ultimately, I'm staying away. But I do think we could still see the Falcons be a playoff team just because that schedule is easy down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, they got to win this one. And I don't know if I have faith in them winning this one. But the Raiders, I think, are sitting in the 2 spot right now. I'm not quite sure. They got to be up there in the top 3 for sure, though. But yeah, I just want to see Shadur as a Raider. I think that'll be awesome. So I'm just hoping that happens.
Raiders are either 1 or 2. Two of them are the Giants. They're the only 2 win teams in the NFL.
Yeah. It's probably the Giants is the one if I were to guess. But
let's see.
Go to Tankathon.
First time all year I've gone to Tankathon.
I was heavy on Tankathon like 3 weeks ago.
Yep, Raiders are in the 1 spot right now.
Very good.
Lost 9 in a row. Oof.
Love that for them. And almost beat the Chiefs, who might win the Super Bowl. Yeah. So, but the thing about the Raiders is with a guy like Max Crosby, he might just wreck their chances of getting who they want.
Maybe.
But maybe Shadur's not their guy and they have somebody else in mind. So I don't know.
Who else would it be? Who else feels like a Raider?
Not Carson Beck.
Carson Beck kind of feels like a Raider.
No. Carson Beck feels like a Tennessee Titan.
Can I offer you a Quinn Ewers?
Yeah.
That feels like a Raider.
6 weeks ago, maybe. I don't know. Like something about Shadur with he's got the big silver chains.
Shadur feels like a Raider 100%. Like that's the guy who feels like a Raider.
Yeah. And I mean, he plays for a black and gold team right now, so going to black and silver just seems like it'll fit. And then maybe Dion joins him. It's just
maybe they take Shiloh in like the 4th round.
They could probably get him as an undrafted free agent, but
it's a family affair.
Yeah. Maybe they make a trade and somehow get Travis Hunter there too.
Ooh. That could be interesting. I don't know how they do it, but that would be interesting.
Who's the Notre Dame tight end they drafted last year?
Michael Mayer.
Yeah, they trade Michael Mayer, next year's first round pick, and like a second this year to Carolina to get the 4th spot. And then they go Shadur at 1 and Travis Hunter at 4. And then they hire Dion. Bring in Shiloh as a UDFA.
Run it back.
Love it. I don't have any college football for you this week.
Is there any?
I don't even know if bowl games start this week or not. I think bowl games might start next week. I'm not even sure, but yeah, not a whole lot of college football. I'll have college football next week for college football playoff. Other than that, fantasy is alive and well. We got the 1 and 2 bye. We got the 1 and 2 bye in one of our leagues. The other league, you're the top scorer. Where I've been the top scorer all year, but somehow I'm the 1 seed.
Dude, my team's been on a heater, man. We are vying for that playoff spot. It's only 4 teams make the playoffs, and I'm in 6th right now, despite having the top score. So, if a few things go my way, I'm going to sneak in, but I'm not counting on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for you to make it looking at the matchups this week.
Yeah.
I might bench everybody against you just to give you an easy win, but you still got to win against the median. So
yeah. I don't want it that way.
I might do it just to hold it over your head.
the politics of fantasy football here.
I've done some messed up things. Like I've done some heinous things late in the season out of spite in fantasy football. So, like in one of my leagues, I in third in scoring, and I'm in 8th out of 14. Missed the playoffs, and I'm more active on the waiver wire than I've been all year. I'm like, none of you motherfuckers are getting nobody,
dude.
I went and blew my budget on Isaac Rindo in that league. I immediately went and picked up quarterbacks. Like, dude, I was like, y'all aren't getting nobody.
In the DKI one where I'm in 6th, it's a 2 QB league, and I am currently rostering 4 quarterbacks because I got one in trade, or maybe it's 5. I got one in a trade, and I was like, well, I can't release him. And that was at the trade deadline. So it was like after the trade deadline, I can't release him. Someone's going to benefit from having Tua. And then I saw Jordan Love sitting there. I was like, well, I got to take Jordan Love because someone's going to get him. And then I'm going to get screwed by that and miss the playoffs because of it. So I'm just like hoarding quarterbacks right now.
I have 4 as well. I wouldn't picked up Matt Jones and Drew Lock just so they wouldn't fuck me.
Yeah.
I'm like, one of these dudes is going to pick up one of these guys and it's going to screw me. So I was like, fuck it. I'll go pick them up. But yeah, it's going to be fun down the stretch. I mean, are you 2 games back? Yeah, you're 2 games back. So you got to win both. Some people have to lose, but if you tie, you'll win on points. So
there you go. The rare tie that has happened.
No, I'm saying if you end up with the same record, not.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't have the tie, you would be at 1 game back, which would be a lot more advantageous position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that tie really screwed me.
I don't see how we go to the second decimal point and also play against the median and you end up with a tie.
My tie was against the median. Like,
that's what
it was
I'm saying.
insane.
A tie against the median.
It was 5th and 6th were tied.
Brutal. That's a hell of a way to lose. And if it wasn't for that, you'd probably get in. So
yeah. Oh well.
There's always next year. Let's just hope I can win it. You probably made your money back with all your first places, though.
Yeah, we'll see. But
getting pretty close. But all right, we'll see y'all next week. Don't sleep on the Cardinals. I don't know if anybody's sleeping on the Cardinals anymore. I mean, they're 6-point favorites right now. So,
Caca.
It's
the Cardinal noise. It's what the Cardinals do. They come out of the tunnel just like waving their arms, going caca.
Ducks fly together.
All right, we got to end this thing. All right, adios.
Caca.
That's how we've won all year, team, right? Yes, you held them to 20 points, man. Yes, you gave us a chance at the end. I got 3 words for you. You like that?